to the 6, we be in the mix. With that rare candy paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids, money for the rent. Fuck a lockdown, baby, I can't do that shit. And I don't never vote, cause I'm fucking broke. And either way, I know the police ain't gon' leave me alone. On a plane by to visit Glen Rock. Need crypto, told me I should bring the Glock with me. So I packed up my piece and I'm sliding. Cause we might get caught up in a riot. Middle finger Trump, middle finger Biden. Fuck a left, fuck a right, is you riding? Know you love to see it, dudes rocking. Ain't no politics, baby, we just talking. From the birds to the bricks, we be in the mix. With that rare candy paint job on the whip, who you with?
This might be our earliest episode of all time.
It's a morning horse. It's a morning horse for sure.
It's our tribute to Scott Adams.
Yeah, that's I was gonna bring that up. I knew one of us was gonna bring that up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, shout out. Yeah, I mean, Scott, I feel bad for the man. Cancer is just such a rough one, and
especially because we know why he has cancer.
Yeah, and we clown on him. I gotta love hate, but not hate, but it's just love clown, kind of thing with Scott Adams. And for a while, before this election, I was listening to his show every day at work.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, it's entertaining, and it was
he's very funny. He's very funny.
He's a smart dude, and yeah, it was. But
well,
I mean, it's like you don't need to go all like Reddit, like anti hippie medicine when you have cancer. That's my thing. Is like, it's
I think there's two ways to interpret what's happening there. So anybody who doesn't know, Scott Adams, he was the most famous for his creation of the comic strip Dilbert. Around 2016, I think he was talking about. I remember he used to talk about Trump being a hypnotist.
Yeah,
but then also he liked them, and so a lot of people turned on him, right? I mean, very average Dilbert reader.
Also Democrat voter his entire life too. So it's like people are like he's a MAGA guy, but he's
a classic case of like what people say is the new alignment of like MAGA people is these people who never, So he did that for a while. Now when COVID hit, he kind of was a science truster. He was very he was very, vaccine. He was always just like, well, you guys, there's a vaccine. I don't know why you guys don't take it. You guys are really stupid. Nothing of what you guys are saying to discredit pro-vax takes is true. And I'm smarter than you. He was very condescending about it, but that's his style. It doesn't matter even if he thinks Detroit style pizza is better than New York, he'll talk to you in that same regard.
That's your belief, but
I don't think so. I
thought you were a Detroit guy. I thought you were a big Detroit guy.
First off, to just pigeonhole me to any one kind of pizza, it says a lot about you, honestly. Look, different strokes. Not every time. I don't always want a fucking brick every day. So sometimes you want dude. It's a great food. So I mean, anyways, I hate the
you're not like a one lane guy with that.
Yeah. I know. What do you think the Ninja Turtles ate? Just fucking God, who cares? Anyways, the Scott Adams thing, he would definitely that's how he went about everything. But for a lot of normie political issues, he was really good. Really smart, really centered. And now what was funny is he was on an arc where it was like he's like, God, to be honest, I think these anti-vaxxers broken clocks right twice a day. I think they were right about this, right? They were right about this for a while. Then he kind of went back into, I don't know. Yeah, but come on, this is dumb. And then he gets hit with cancer. Now, this is a guy who maybe not his whole life was healthy, but this last chapter of his life has been extremely healthy. He really turned himself around.
His diet's better than mine.
For sure.
He never eats bread, and he eats like a pound of organic berries a day, which is pretty tight, and so it's like,
so why would somebody get suddenly super aggressive cancer? Not just the cancer. Now, look, a guy in his 60s getting cancer is not unheard of. I'm not going to sit here and say any case of that is from mRNA vaccination, but when you get that suddenly aggressive was it prostate?
I think prostate metastasis.
Colon, one of the two. Yeah. One of the two, we're down there basically. And if you get that and it's super aggressive, and you get the idea he went to the doctor pretty regularly. Didn't he have his own doctor or something? Yeah. I thought his own doctor turned on him or something. I was some weird right? Didn't you send me something about his doctor?
Oh well, he was there's that guy William Makis or Makis. He's a big like Twitter dog. I don't know. He's like a big ivermectin, like Mel Gibson ass, ivermectin, Febbiz, and all, what's that one? Those three molecules, ivermectin and a couple others that. So he claims he treats a bunch of cancer. So anyway, like they were just beefing because I guess Scott. Well, it's weird because Scott. He says he's like ivermectin. There's no way ivermectin works for cancer. But then it said, but I hired this guy as a consultant to try and cure my cancer with iver. And then I guess he threw him under the bus, and that guy was like, "Hold up, I don't know who. I don't know. I think they both might be kind of gay about this, but
yeah, why not experiment then? You know what I mean? Like, why not be the data point?
Yeah. And that guy was like, I was never his doctor. He just hired me as like a consultant, and like he didn't actually do what I said and all this shit. Which honestly, like even if someone was calling me, I don't know if I would like write a whole thread on why this guy with cancer
is guy's gonna die.
I know. I don't know. It's the whole thing stinks, and it's just
That's why I
also
feel
like Scott Adams. That is gay if Scott Adams is doing
well, so there's a couple ways to look about this.
Yeah.
I have a feeling he secretly is trying all of the based stuff, but he's just because you know what happens. You know, when
I just have like when my dad, right, because he died of a heart attack, right. The way it happened was he had a pretty massive heart attack at 64 years old, almost 65, and like a couple, right before his birthday, and then he went to the hospital. They sent him home and everything. They were like got him on meds, and he was he was like a Christian Scientist ass, like non-medical truster, like to the T. And then a week later, he died. Basically, probably had another one in his sleep or something. And
that's pretty common. That's a very common thing to have happen. Yeah,
for sure. But what's funny, the reason I interjected is because he was all, this is when I was like peak plant-based, like, when I was more like lecturing my family, not like, I was never that hardcore about it, but I was like, I was showing them the fucking.
You showed up at one time we had dinner. You showed up as a diseased heart. You showed up in a costume as a diseased heart.
I showed up as a prant, dude.
As a prant. And then when you sat down with us, and then you didn't say anything, but just you dressing up like that was a lecture to us.
And then I said, "Meat is murder," and everyone clapped.
You glued your hands to the counter because the plant-based creamer. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and and. But in that week so he was like, not like he was always accepting, but he would like make fun of me. He's like, dude, what the fuck are you eating? All this shit. And he's like, come on, it doesn't matter. In that week before he knew that he was going to die or whatever, he was emailing all of us. He's like, I'm going to get a juicer. I'm going full plant. So like when everyone always says like, I don't care when and I do think some people really believe that they don't really ultimately care when they die.
Right.
And that we all have to do that. I don't think it's healthy to fear death, but when you're staring down the barrel of the gun and you're like, damn, am I going to see my grandkids? Am I going to be born? All this stuff. Everyone has an about face and everyone changes, and like even the most hardcore, like carne asada eater and shit, you know what I mean? Like burrito eater.
Yeah.
And,
if you extrapolate that to like, even like average Twitter user who like will do that a lot is kind of I don't know if it's a non sequitur, but just like if there's a health discussion, someone just goes, I just eat chicken fingers because, I could get hit by a bus.
Yeah.
People that say that, which again, I just doubt that that's what you actually believe because you'll see the same people freak out over every odd interaction on Twitter and stuff. You're like, wait, so you're not really that calm. Like you're not really this.
That's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying.
You haven't ascended in this form. Like they freak out. Like they lock their account when somebody replies to them negatively. Like it's just these weird things. It's like, I see that you care about literally everything else.
That's what I'm saying.
If you're because if you're like 25 years old and you eat chicken fingers every day, eventually you'll start feeling like shit. But at the time you're probably like, you know what? I'm fine. I'm fine. But like when you start hitting 60, and like you said, it's too young to die, it's too young for you to accept death a lot of times. But also
Tracy Chapman, dude, body's too young to look like that. Body's
exactly. You're old enough for like things to happen, really. Like very strange things could happen, like that are kind of nobody's fault. Yeah. So, and sometimes they are somebody's fault. But I just, to me, it's like I fear. It's weird. I have a very, very odd relationship with death. It's almost like a narcissistic fear of like my presence not being in the world, rather than death itself. Like I'm dying. It's just more so like, oh my gosh, I left my wife, You know, like my wife's not here. You know, like there's all these things that could happen. The Raiders might win now. You know, now that I'm dead. That's not
for
joking.
sure.
I'm not joking.
For
That's
sure.
literally Of course, now they want to fucking draft well. You know, like it just that would be.
You see it with older Raider fans. They're like, for 20 years we haven't made the playoffs, and like then the guy died. Like seriously, like the Raiders fans die.
Yeah,
Raiders fans died in 2014. Let's just put it that way, dude. It's like
when you tailgate that fucking hard, dude.
Dude,
you're a martyr, you're a soldier. But
exactly.
for the autumn wind.
Yeah.
But no, with Scott Adams, I guess what I was saying is I think he's secretly trying the bass stuff because I don't think he's like, oh, I'm ready to die. However, I get what he's doing. When something bad happens to you and you talk about it, sometimes like waves of advice are annoying, you know, like when you're like, I get the idea where it was like, look, I know what all that stuff is. But guys, like the most, like I took a class, the only class that I thought, other than my radio class in college, that I thought actually meant anything was this fake ass class called Stories of Death. And what they do is it was all about, and I hadn't really lost anybody at that point. So that was tough, but there were a lot of people that like one of the main cruxes of that, we would read like short fiction about death and like decaying and all stuff. It was really interesting. And then there would be mourning and like how to comfort a friend. And the teacher who had lost like everybody in her family, she said like, you know, the worst thing you can do, like some of the worst shit you can say is in like good faith a lot of times, or with good intentions. When somebody dies and everyone's like, well, they're probably in heaven with your brother and all this stuff. And like the best thing you can say when somebody has something horrible happen to them is, man, that fucking sucks, man. God, that sucks. That's terrible.
That's real empathy.
Because that's what everyone feels. That's what happens. There's no solution to it at the moment. But but also it alerts the person of your presence, but also doesn't put all these other stupid things, because they're not feeling that way. They don't feel that way, that like, oh, they're in heaven right now cosmically with the lights. Even if eventually a year from now they'll feel that way. So I think when somebody's like, I have cancer, I'm probably not going to get out of this. I don't expect to survive the summer. Now, plot twist, I think he's a market-based guy. I think he is going to survive the summer. And he's like, oh, psych. Got my shit right, dude. Juice or blend. I think he's going to do it. That's just my thing. But
he always pops back up, dude. He has the arcs, and my whole thing with him, and I think he is a special guy and like a good contributor. I think he's the world's worst without him, for sure. And my whole thing with him is everyone trusts something, and he's just like he thinks like he's like Elon Musk, smartest guy in the world, right? You know, and he's like one of those, and he's like that all in pod. He's like, all in pod, those guys, man. I'm telling, and it's just like I don't know. I'm not saying those guys are stupid or Elon Musk is stupid, but they're literally just like startup guys, you know. And it's just like fuck it. I don't know. They're cool, you know. I don't hate them, but he's like, dude, he's like latched in. He's all in. He's all in on all in for sure. You know. So it's just like, it's like you're invested in that type of thing. I'm invested in weird, and dude, I fully get it. Like the kind of MAGA boomer that is suddenly like a cancer expert now, and I'm someone who believes all that shit. But it annoys me, even though I'm like on their side, you know. And I'm like, dude, shut up. You don't know that this cures can't. Like I think it does, but you don't know. You know?
And then you have the guy who's just like, are you sure you even have cancer? Are you fucking sure? Are you fucking sure that you even have it? They told you had something, but what really happened was the testing they did. And again, I believe in a lot of this stuff. Like a lot of like mammograms, I think are pretty fucking bad. Like there's like, I mean, you can get them. I'm not saying, I will never tell somebody not to get them, but I just mean like there's definitely some data that would say like mammograms where they're just smashing if you have lumps in there, they're smashing them basically and fucking deploying them in a worse way. Like there's a lot of, I mean, again, the cancer industry is horrible right now. In many such, and so I guess to me, as I was like, I think he knew, and he did say, he's like, I think the anti-vaxxers were right about this. He's like, because why am I getting this aggressive ass cancer right now? Like and I don't want to make anybody feel bad, and we don't talk about this that much because I feel like if you're listening to this and you got like vaxxed in 2020 or whatever, you did it. I wish you didn't, just for your sake, but I don't think anybody wants to hear about like the cancer they're about to get,
No.
you know, or if they're about. I'm not saying you're going to get it. I just mean if that's about to happen. I'm sure there's a lot of people who kind of want to forget that happened, but it sucks. You see lots of people, like you'll see random things of like influencer at like 27 years old, like dies of like insane bone cancer, and you're like, what?
Yeah,
you know, and people go, well, that happens all the time. That happens all. Does it? Because anytime that does happen, people go, they were too young. How does this happen? Does God even exist? People do all these things when people like that die. But if we say, actually, that thing that clearly exists caused this, they're like, oh, no, you idiot. What? Pfizer? Moderna? No. You kidding me? That furry would never design something that gives you cancer. That furry thing, that furry yiffing freak would
Furry might be the one. I'm like, I don't care. It's like, I don't care. I'll take all if the bars are good, if people are dropping bars, like I don't care where it's coming from. I really don't, you know. But I've decided I don't care about a furry's opinion on any topic. There's all these arguably like smart. Like
you're an animal. I don't care about my fucking dog's opinion on anything.
I'm just saying, dude. I'm like, there are those Twitter accounts where it's like, you could tell they're intelligent and you could tell they have like thoughts on things and blah, blah, blah. And they write these like crazy posts and shit. And it's like, I'm a furry. And I'm like, I'm good. No, I'm sorry. Like, I'm good, dude. It's like, it's not. Yeah.
You don't care, dude. You dress up like, dress up like an animal and no sports are involved.
You're the mascot without the sport.
I know. You're the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. Oh no, I'm just a perverted bird. Thank you. Just a perverted freak bird, and we rented out the whole embassy suites because everyone's in tech and we have a bunch of money, and then we fuck each other and create vaccines. It's fucking awesome. By the way, you should trust my opinion on everything.
Economics.
We're gonna get you right back to the episode, but I just wanted to let you guys know of a few other things we offer at Rare Candy Industries. We have a Substack with free and paid subscription options. Free subscribers get access to all written content. That includes Bob's Red Pill. That's the best thing going on the internet right now. Trust me. Paid subscribers get full access to our premium episode feed. And that's just every episode we don't necessarily want to share with the general public, if you know what I'm saying. Again, that's rarecandy.substack.com. We also have merch. That link's a little long for me to say right now, but go to the description, go to our merch store, and find a shirt that's right for you. We have Rare Candy shirts, Dr. Bronner soap label shirts, Rishi mushroom shirts, all types of stuff there. Check it out. There's got to be something for you. And lastly, check us out on social media. On Instagram, we're Rare Candy Pod, but on Twitter, we're at Rare Candy Pod 1. All right, enough of that. Let's get you back into the episode.
Medicine,
well, that parlays into the next thing I kind of wanted to talk about. What would you do if you saw a video of me performing a certain, not a sex act, because any sex act, I don't think it would freak you out, right? I think you'd be like, "What are you doing?" But like for the most, if I was like doing financial domination, like feet licking stuff in a mini skirt, if I did that. What would you do? What would be your reaction? Like, so what I mean is like you wake up in the morning, the Australians have already seen it. The RC Australian fans, by the way, that's our second leading listening country, right? Is Australia.
Let's fucking go, dude.
I love it. I mean, I absolutely love it more than Canada, which is you would think just like a bigger country though. Like you would, well, you know, you would think it was a bigger country. Now, if you asked me what was a worse country in 2020 and 2021, I would have said Australia. Right now, it's Canada, not even close.
Yeah, because the Canada has the Australian. The Canada was more top down. The Australians seemed more organic, you know, more like everyone was involved, like a little, you know.
It was women, is what we found out. It was in Australia. There was a lot of Australian women that were really bothering me during that time. They were like these trapdoor spider arachnid women that were like, they'd be like, "You get down here," like just this weird, like the Claire Lemons, and then that other one, which I'm not going to say her name. No, you guys know who it is. That cackling fucking wench. Like that. Those ones were like, and then the bros are like, women are crazy here, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
No, I have like, one of my good friends who I talk to maybe we met in the States, and he is Australian, and he moved back there and started a family, and cool, total guy, total horse. And we talk every couple of years, maybe, you know, and he was always hitting me up during the pandemic, and he's like, "What do you think about the vaccine, man?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm just saying, I think it's fucking whack. I'm not getting it." And he was trying to he was kind of, I could see that, man. He's like, I don't know, man. I might just get one dose and then do some of the natural
understood.
stuff. And I'm
Never understood.
And I'm like, if you want, man, but I know you're gonna regret it, and blah blah. And so it's like, I mean, he's just the one guy I know, and I
got
love
prostate
him.
cancer.
Yeah, but I think we know every bass person in Canada listens to our show. Like we captured the whole Canada market.
Yeah, for sure. No,
Yeah.
for sure. So
and I always forget that because my Toronto tweet that I sent was, and then they all like I always forget that those Canadians are Canadians that listen to our show. Like half, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Mac and just
Geo, all the mainstays, staple people. Yeah, for sure. The well, anyways, what I was saying is, let's say the Australians have already seen my kink video that have already happened and stuff. What would you do? Like, what would you do? Like, would you hit me up first? Would you immediately start doing PR for the company? What would you do?
I don't know. I mean, I would hit you up just to be like, you good,
First,
but
first you would hit, okay. I just want to,
sure.
Okay. Yeah. That's good.
I wouldn't even I don't care about that. I know who we're talking about here.
No, and we're gonna talk about that in general because it's fascinating, to be honest.
It is, and I will say, I admit, I'm self-reflective enough to know, zooming out, that if that were one of my enemies and someone I didn't like, I'd be like, man, what the fuck, and shit. Yeah. But the fact that it's someone that I generally do, I'm like, I respect. I'm like,
why can't someone do this to Patrick Mahomes, dude?
I know.
Yeah, dude. Dude, come on, yeah. But anyways, yeah.
It's out there. Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, for sure,
yeah. But so because what's interesting about it is, and I made jokes about it because I wake up and everybody's talking about this thing. It's Glen Greenwald, right? And everyone's like, fucking Glen. I wake up and I see all these fucking Glen. A lot of stuff saying, and I'm like, oh, thank God mine doesn't have two ends.
Yeah,
because
different.
Wow,
yeah.
Because I mean, I'm not saying there's a tape of me. There's not, but I just, you never know, right? You never know. But it's crazy to me because what happened was, for anyone who doesn't know, Glen Greenwald, very kind of left-leaning but pro-free speech. He's kind of an old guard leftist, very much like a Thaddeus Russell. These guys that there are times they're going to frustrate you.
Yeah,
I'm more so Glen Greenwald than Thaddeus Russell. I really like Thaddeus Russell, but the Glen Greenwald, they'll frustrate you because they'll hit these kind of like walls that that's not true, or that like when he was freaking out about basically I think it was Bolsonaro, basically not however you feel about him, was not willing to mortgage Brazil to have Pfizer there. Essentially, it's not like he was like freaking out about that. He was,
and flu shots,
but at the end of the day, free speech absolutism, which is just not a thing on the left anymore. It just isn't. It doesn't exist. So he's still kind of a last vestige of that. So he ends up getting haters from all of the sides, right? For being a free speech, for someone who's saying like, okay, that guy might have a swastika on, but like you should be allowed to speak freely because of the implications of what that. Like, I like when people think like that.
Yeah.
I've always known that he had a little bit of kinky stuff, It's just that you hear through the grapevine that guy always was into some stuff I wouldn't do.
Yeah, dude.
Again, he's also a gay guy, so that's different. Yeah. I assume every gay guy. I'm sorry, I assume every gay guy has a tape like that, or not a tape. That's the problem. Has done something not of that sort, just something where a straight person would go, "What, my friend Tom?"
Yeah. Yeah,
dude, I know Tom was gay, but we were just having beers. What the fuck?
It's like the tranny porn and the fucking the thing.
Right. So I can assume there was a lot of people. Like, I can assume like all of my gay friends, I love them and stuff. I just assume that there's something within the same realm, a tier of weird that they do.
Yeah.
Why do people film it? I don't understand it.
Like, that's part of the kink, probably.
But the thing is, he's older, older, to where like I'd expect a 22-year-old guy to be like, I film everything. I'm a content creator, and I'm just like, dude, like you I would never.
I'm not even a lights on guy, dude. I'm a lights off all the way, dude. I'm just like, I'm not even like I don't even care film. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, first off, I'm definitely not holding a camera. Yeah, like, and then as a third person holding the camera, absolutely not. You're not. I would trust you to get my angles right. Yeah, fuck you, dude. Yeah, but, Also, fucking Stanley Kubrick all of a sudden. Dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fuck, more like Ryan Coogler. Yeah, you're like Ryan Coogler with the camera on my sex tape. But
yeah, no, and this is dividing everyone. It's dividing a lot of people, including I'm sure our listener base is somewhat divided on it.
And I get it because it's just like
it's bad. Honestly, the worst part is the hard drug use with adopted kids
and the power dynamic. What did we talk about on that subject?
Why are you doing meth? Dude?
I don't.
Like, I'm sorry. Like you make $500,000 a year on Substack, dude. Like,
another one of those things with the gay guys. That's another one of those things where every gay guy, or not every, but like I would say a solid 65 to 70%, and that number could be conservative, of gay men that have at least done meth.
Dabbled. Yeah.
I've asked some of my buddies like that I grew up with. I'm like, you ever fuck with that? Like, yeah. Sometimes you go to those parties,
and that's something like a straight guy that will try cocaine, will do psychedelic. They'll be like meth. They'll like never even what And
do you want intervention or something? Like, this is crazy. Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. And it is the thing. I don't know. I'm not really
porn. Apparently, I clicked out of the video ASAP. People were telling me that there was straight porn in the background.
Gay dudes love straight porn too. That's another thing I've heard. They just don't. They like. That's like the one time they like watching women is like with the straight porn.
Perhaps there's like a self-insert kind
I like how we're experts on the gays too, the gay dynamic. Yeah.
No, I mean it is interesting, right? Because you have like, okay, man, because if that was you, I'd be like, what the fuck? First off, you went to Brazil without me. If that was the case, I'd be mad. I'd be like, why are you in Brazil? You didn't fucking hit me up. You solo Brazil trip? That's the weirdest part. I'd be like, why are you in Brazil?
Well, that's the other factor here is like, Brazil. I'm just saying,
You either go there to be a Nazi or a sexual deviant.
And I'm weird. I'm not kind of like I'm not real. I don't know, the whole like Matt Walsh thing. The whole like Brazil is like a very much more liberated, freaky country in that aspect. It's a thing. It's a thing in Brazil,
for
right?
sure.
And
it's just gigantic Pixar asses.
Carnival, dude. Exactly.
It's gigantic Pixar asses and people with like soccer player dexterity, of course.
Because it's dude, it's crazy.
Volleyball and soccer.
The music, dude. The music, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, it's I don't know, dude. It's interesting, but I guess I'm thinking about the kids and because the whole conservative thing is like. There's a big thing.
Adopted children,
the adopted children and surrogates and things like that, and like I don't know. Also, I do think there are normie gay guys like Mayor Pete and shit, and like I think those types of guys are maybe they got a little freak in them, but there is for sure.
Be funny if a tape comes out with him and we'll have the freezing cold take by you. That would be hilarious.
Remember exactly. The odds are already in Vegas. Remember that Devin the Dude video where he's talking about the Jamaican guy making him a bootleg take? Tell you, make you a tape. Yeah, when he goes to that guy, it's like where Devin the Dude is like trying to find some like rare ass dub tapes, and he has this Jamaican acquaintance and friend, and he's like, "Tell you what, make you a tape, man." That's all I'm thinking of right now with this. Glenn Greenwald.
Also, was that filmed on like a Motorola Razr? I was like, is this from like 2007 or something? Like, because a decent chance it could have been.
Because we were watching that in high school. I remember. Yeah,
the Glenn Greenwald tape.
Oh no! I thought you meant the Devin the Dude. It was the same.
You were watching that in high school, not me. That's what I'm saying. Like, is that a new tape? Like, because it looks. I was like, what is the video quality of this, dude? Like, this is crazy. Like, because you.
What if that's their logic? Like, no one will be able to tell if we use the razor. In the old shoebox, you have the razor, and you got the old ass USB cable. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So you just have like a digital camera, like one of those old Sony digital cameras. Yeah. I just thought it was, that was crazy. Cause I guess what I'm saying is I hold when a gay guy does something crazy, I'm always just like, oh, okay. Like, yeah. All right. But then if it was you, or if it was anybody I knew that was like straight or, conducted themselves as such, I'd be like, dude. And again, I still think the tape is weird. I just know I'm always just like, just don't film it, man. Like, just don't film it. Like, you hear about all these people like, oh, Steve McQueen, right? Like, Steve McQueen is a guy who alpha. The guy is gay as shit. Like, the guy was one of the like gayest actors. I mean, all those guys from back then. The guys that like have the masculinity that people go, we need to return to like classic Hollywood, and it's like Steve McQueen, Cary Grant, all these guys who are straight up at least bisexual at the core. Steve McQueen moved to Palm Springs in the 60s, which was like literally the gayest boomer place of all time to like live.
Yeah.
And he moved there in the 60s with his wife, and he was probably just cruising the entire time. Yeah. But at the end of the day, are there tapes of Steve McQueen? No. So it's left up to this, like, it's left up to our ability to go, that guy's like probably a little free, he's probably deviant or something, leather and stuff like that. But then when you see the guy with, like I said, you're right, the tray of the meth stuff was very disturbing. I was like, yeah. And again, is that an old tape? It might be a very old tape. And again, doesn't excuse, it's kind of the same. I would have the same take, but I was like, is this before the kid? And
this is the thing with, I don't know, where's it going with that? I forget. But the whole, I don't know, it's interesting. Yeah, I'm brain farting, but the drug thing is crazy. This is another thing where I'm going back to the Taoist thing with because
sorry, that's not where I expected you to go.
I know. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to save my stumble here with because because our side makes fun of the whole BDSM kind of thing, which is like it is like a mask on top of sexuality. So I'm saying is like the energy of sexual exchange with a partner. If you focus on that, if you know just some basics of this stuff, and you could become intermediate and advanced or whatever, and that is much more exciting than any dumb like role play or I'm not saying fetish is weird or bad. I'm not saying that,
I think men getting dominated is bad though.
Yeah. Well, okay. Oh, that's what reminded me of what I was thinking. Is like, because I always thought this, like growing up, where it's very common for straight girls to have friends that are gay and stuff, right? And all that. But it's funny that no one ever, like, most people think of gay, they're like, oh, that guy's gay, but we don't actually think of the act of like actual
exactly
sex,
yeah,
let alone see it, unless it's your friend with the tabs open and shit,
right.
Or
but again, this is like a video of him jacking off to the tranny porn, like that. Like that's what I mean. It's like an even more crazy look inside, like where it's like, okay, those are your tabs open. You still have the plausible. If anyone doesn't know, rarecandy.substack.com, our last premium episode, we talk all about my friend who had some interesting tabs open on his phone. But like, again, this is like a video of like him consuming it. If that was the case, like, oh yeah, fucking T-porn, dude. Yeah. And getting like fin-dommed by a tranny or something like that. That stuff is that's like where it's at. You're right. It's like, I don't want to see it. I am thinking about your Taoist interpretation where it's just like sometimes a no roads refused is a good way.
Sometimes backdoor is appropriate when
you must refuse a summer roads.
It's crazy. I have this old book. It's crazy, dude. I have this old I got this old, like, there's a 2 book series, one for male, one for female, even though they're overlap, of like a Taoist kind of practice. And the whole idea of like, the cuck chair, you sit in the corner and you watch, and that's like that became like a whole fucking thing and everything. So they're like, in one of these books, and it has some like good stuff, but in one of them, it's like, one practice is, I guess you have like a white tigress, which is like a freaky girl, that you use to build energy with. And it's like, in one practice, you hide in the corner behind this shade that the guy can't see, and then you have her get another guy, and then you watch as he fucks her, and then you build your energy up. And I'm like, damn, they were doing that 10,000 years ago. It's like nothing's changed, dude.
That sounds like very,
damn, dude, that's
very cuck coping in a way where it's like, actually it's super Taoist for me to watch my wife.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Actually it's Taoist when the bull fucking destroys my wife while I watch.
I'm like, dude, here's a system that teaches you how to, you can make your hog bigger if you want, and you can last as long as you want, and like literally last 3 hours. But you're still gonna let another dude smash. Like, come on, dude, do the smash. You should be the other dude. It's at that point, dude. It's like
you should be both dudes. You're both guys. It's gang are Eiffel Towering your wife.
Yeah.
Philip K. Dick, Scanner Darkly, like fucking your dudes. You're in the Richard Linklater animation, staring at
you're wearing the mask that changes, like the digital mask.
You're a junkie cop, and it's the junkie and the cop are fucking the It's that's great. I know. Man. Yeah. It's just like, okay. Do you think there's any chance that, because I saw this take too, and God bless people for trying to defend the guy. Again, I don't hate him. Hate him. It's just
Greenwald.
Yeah.
I got a big soft spot for him.
What about the blackmail element of it? Because I think that's kind of cope too.
Yeah,
the releasing of the tape could be some sort of blackmail. But again, why did you do all of that stuff on camera?
I think it might be cope. I think it because why now? After like literally 15 years of like shitting on the establishment and shitting on Israel
during Snowden, that would have been a perfect.
They're like, now we're gonna release it now in 2020.
Well, and also like the way like a lot of blackmail works, and like I just covered Libra with Brad Kelly, which is kind of like a really interesting way to look at how like the JFK assassination could have been concocted, which is a lot of blackmail, a lot of people thinking they're achieving something on their own, but like they're really on like a watch list, and it's like Oswald defects to Russia, and he thinks he snuck into Russia, but they're like, no, let him go to Russia, then we can survey his life as a basically a possible terrorist, and we can make him into a patsy and stuff. And this is a bit different. What I mean is like, what do we know a weakness about this particular man, like Glenn Greenwald? And one guy might go, well, let's find a favela prostitute in Brazil that will basically do this, and have maybe a little fucking GoPro, like that was like a mole or something, and was that's why the video thing was so bad. But like it was just like, to me, I was like, man, the thing is a lot of things are psyops, but there are a lot of buy-ins to possible blackmail where it's like, man, if that's your weakness, you have to be sure to never do that around somebody you don't trust.
Yeah, it's not a good.
It's not good. It's not good. Like if that was the coach of my football team, I'd be like, fuck.
Yeah.
If that was honestly, if it was a former guest on the show, I'd be like, damn, really?
And it is funny because I mean, like, let's be like, I don't think anyone's like Greenwald's takes are principled. Like, I do think that I know some people will disagree, but it's like
person. He's a consistent. You kind of can figure out what he's gonna say, and even if you're like, no, like even if that happens, what he's gonna say about a certain take because he's following a set of principles. Like
also, I think, and I know some people will disagree with this that listen to us, but I think. And I do think I'm not like, he's kind of critical of it, like recently the Trump civil rights, kind of immigration kind of thing and stuff like that. And like, I'm kind of in the middle on that. I'm like, I'm not really a plan truster, but I'm also I'm a trans pluser.
You're a trans buster. You're a trans buster.
Yeah. But I'm kind of in the middle where like I think it's good to have guys like Greenwald that aren't like totally fucking guys that will, because some MAGA dudes will never speak up regardless of anything, and you're like, okay, like I don't really, it's like I get it, and like obviously it's better than Kamala Harris and everything, but I think guys like that it's good to have an ecosystem of guys like that.
Well, I would like for that to be the true opposition, right? Like I would like for like that would be a good sign of an Overton window, where if Democrats were like that and then we just did our thing, you know what I mean? But again, they're not. He's hated by most of the Democratic Party too. Not all, but like most of them. And so it's just I if anybody's like, I can't stand that guy, I'm like, I'm never gonna get in an argument with you over it. Like it's really not worth the time. But man, I just saw that and I was just like, there were so many takes about it, but I was just like, man, I can't get jiggy with that, dude. Like I don't know. It's just so strange because it could be blackmail, but again, you fell for like a weird ass blackmail thing. You know what I mean? Like that's the problem. Like it's one thing if someone screenshots you being like weird.
And Glen
like,
Glen is into black dudes, right? It is blackmail. It's like literally
night. Yeah, that let's clip that, guys. Hopefully that gets taken out of not taken out of context. By itself. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like with the Brazilian.
I have lots of black friends, dude.
Yeah,
I fucking love them. They're great. So what? Yeah. But,
it's funny, dude. It's
I know that's the thing. You know that that's the problem. Is like you're like, wow. Like a very principled journalist has this glaring flaw. It's like he's like, it's like he's weak in the low post in basketball, and you can just drop 30 on him down there, and probably probably a low post style black guy. But like Roy Hibbert or like just one of these like Roni Turioff. But I think that was Brazilian or no. God, who am I thinking? Nene. That was the basketball player. Nene
drop that Nene, dude. Yeah.
So, anyways, the
also I think the way he handled it is like, how can you do better than that?
That was pretty good. I like that. Like his little statement was like, "Yeah, it's me. What do you want me to do?" Like, like,
exactly.
It's me. I'm still gonna fucking do what I do. He did the Wall Street. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Like I do like that. Mm-hmm.
I care more. I literally care the things that Glen shines a light on.
Mm-hmm.
I care more. I'm much more concerned about the things she shines a light on than even the meth sex parties, even with kids in the house. Who knows if that's even happened or if that's even true. But the worst case scenario, like, I'm not defending that. I think that's bad. And that shouldn't happen. And
I mean, he probably hired a sitter.
But that's also part of the it's like it was like, no, sitter.
Who was the baby? Also, who was the baby?
Get in here. Yeah, it's like, get in here, sitter. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or is that like a straight guy thing? I know that's like I don't know.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. No. I don't know. Know. That's a tricky debate in its own. Is like the whole like adopted thing. I'm like, I don't know. I don't really have an answer for that.
Yeah, I do think it is that. I was thinking about that too, because it does. I don't really know any kids or adults that were raised by gay or lesbian parents.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like probably fine if they're kind of cool. I think
lesbianism is a bit different. I think
you need a dude. You need a dude in the house. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I think the whole because a lot of people I'll say the thing in the world. A lot of people think that they're going to molest the kid. Like that's what a lot of people think when two men adopt a child or do surrogacy, they're going to molest the kid. Apparently, there's some stats that go with it. I don't know. It's not really it's just not something I'm super concerned about.
That didn't come up on the Pit. The Pit didn't have any gay couples molesting their kids, even though that didn't come. That wasn't one of the case studies.
That's crazy. Maybe Pittsburgh just maybe Pittsburgh just doesn't get down like that, dude. This is the Pit, dude.
Yeah.
But you got to watch the Nick, dude. By the way,
we started it. We started. We're like 1.5 deep.
It's so fucking sick.
Dude. Lupin goes hard, dude.
Is it Lupin? No, it's Clive Owen. That's Clive Owen.
Professor Lupin is the guy, right?
I think it's Clive Owen.
Is it a different actor?
Yeah, you're talking about David Thewlis. They look similar, but Clive Owen is from Children of Men. Very, very, famous actor. No, he's got the whole mustache kind of period piece.
Yeah, he looks exactly like
Edgar Allan Poe-esque happening. Yeah, he's got the same.
No, right at the part where I'm dying, where they electrify the hospital, and then the nurse, the live wire dumps it, and she just dies immediately.
So bad, dude. The show is crazy. It's like it's like I learned about that from Nick Mullen. Was talking about that on Cumtown way back in the day, and you couldn't. Now it's on Max, but back in the day, like you just like couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah, it did not pop. That show didn't pop.
And it ended. So it's weird. It's 2 seasons. It ends. A lot of people think it didn't end. I think it ended perfectly. I was like, wow, this is actually so. You have to let me know. I'll start rewatching it too. We'll do a thing on it because I think it's right up our alley. Like it's awesome.
Yeah. But I love the fucking the ambulance driver that's clowning the Irish nun all the time, dude.
Yeah,
rock,
there's big time Irish street sweeper shit happening
for sure, dude. Yeah.
But anyways, I don't even know why I was talking about that. Oh, the Pit. Oh, the molestation. Yeah. I think with like lesbians, I think you just have like you're just gonna have like a really soy kid that ends up being like I think trannyism might be a thing. I
don't know. I mean,
if lesbians adopt a male child is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I actually think I don't think this. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, maybe, but like it's.
I have no idea. This is just a complete guess on my part, but I would think
I
that
don't
would
think
be
it transfers as much as people think it does. Like the based online. I don't think like. I think like there's a lot. I think, for example, I think like gay parents like generally have straight kids pretty much in line. I could be totally wrong on this. Pretty much in line with
Yeah.
the average of humanity. You know, of like. So I could be wrong. Who knows? But
yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of people
Yeah,
where
but
I'm like, man, no, that's like their number one issue. So they might be like, nope, actually, I know exactly. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I'm not gonna debate you on it. But I don't know. To me, I've always been like, okay, odd. Like, and I don't know. I just mini skirt.
So Glenn's, I didn't watch it. So Glenn's wearing a mini skirt.
That's where I had to tap
Is it like
out.
yeah?
Yeah, because if he was just wearing like Nike track pants, I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or something, or just like a fucking Costco like Eddie Bauer polo or something. I'd be like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, you know, the gross, but get that off my timeline. The mini skirt with meth is rough, dude. It's like Japanese at that point. Like it's very
it's like
strange.
scene.
Yeah, I know. I was like, damn, man. Like, cause that, you know, hey, life goes on though. I guess he had no choice. He has to keep going. If he quit now, then he wouldn't be principled at all, right?
Yeah.
So we had to talk about
from the 5 to the 6, we be in the mix with that red candy paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids, money for the rent. Fuck a lockdown, baby, can't do
shit. Here's another thing. Isn't it crazy, right? So we haven't really talked about this, and I don't have a lot to say about this per se, but just the perception of space exploration now, it kind of seems like nobody cares. Like if we're to believe that we go to space regularly, like it's nothing. We go to space. It's obviously a huge tat. NASA deserves so much money to do this. Gayle King and Katy Perry were up in space just floating around and gossiping and stuff, like, and Katy Perry like kissing the ground afterwards. If we are to believe
the ground and I liked it.
That's true. Yeah. It's just to try it. And was it something chapstick? I heard that song in forever. But
we need it. Yeah. That was our
because our other shit sounds so much different. That's funny. But anyways, if we're to believe that happens, nobody seems that excited about space exploration anymore, and I'm not at all. I just mean there were a lot of people, like even 10 years ago, that were like, space, dude, space. And then there were Elon people that were like Mars. And then for the most part, nobody gives a shit anymore.
I think it's a combination of they keep overpromising and lying about shit. And like they're just shady and weird. And we know they lie about climate data and all this shit. And we know and again, like Artemis, like, no, we're going. It's gonna happen. We're gonna go to the moon again.
Yeah.
And it just never and like literally you could that's like me taking the under on Darren Waller as a New York Giant, like under 40 yards every time. It's gonna hit
under 40 games played.
Much to the chagrin of Eddie. Shout out. Sorry, but I'm just like I think that's the most money I made sports gambling is taking the under on Darren Waller. But I'm like, no, we're gonna be there in 2026. I'm like, no, we're not.
Speaking
not
of needles and trays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But But I think it's a combination.
Can you imagine if the miniskirt video dropped and it was the WNBA player and
Darren Waller,
dominating him?
Or he just drops it on YouTube as like a music video.
Yeah, he starts rapping. She's like, "You're never rapping again. Your rapping's terrible." And he's like, "Yes, it's bad. I'll never do it."
But also, it's a thing because the cope, like the Neil deGrasse Tyson cope, is always like, we went to the moon and the federal budget for NASA was like 0.5% of the budget, and now it's like they cut it. It's like 10% of that. So we just don't have the money. And I'm like, you're telling me with modern tech, with iPhone computers and shit, we can't go to the moon for 1/10 the price with everything we know now.
Yeah,
and we don't have to engineer it from first principles. We know everything. Every undergrad aerospace engineer like knows all this shit. Like they've learned it in undergrad. We don't have to learn it as brand new. You're telling me we can't do it on budget, and so it's just the whole thing's fake, dude. And again, that's the Rogan thing, because Rogan vacillates on moon landing stuff, and so do I. Like I don't.
Me too.
Yeah, so do I. And but it is question. It's like he's always going on the pod. He's like, why can't we go back, dude? Like, why the fuck can't we go back? And why? And and it's a great question. It's a great fucking question.
Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe if it's a money thing, maybe just send the Haitians that you brought to Ohio. I mean, how much money do you have to pay them, right? And then that's your astronauts. And then
Where are you going with this, dude?
No, I mean, if it's a money thing, you start looking, where can we cut costs?
Yeah.
All right. The rocket costs this much. The Hidden Figures lady scientist costs this much.
Because every NASA liberal is like pro immigration, so it's like and pro jobs.
That's the ultimate form of immigration. Is that immigration or deportation? That's what you have to argue.
It's like it's an edge case. It's an edge case.
You're sitting down on that like Sam Cedar debate show where it's like, is sending it to space deportation or immigration? And it's Stefan Molyneux versus Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah. The cost is not a problem for sure. I know that for sure. The whole thing, the moon is an alien fucking base, and they know that, and that's why. That's it. That's why. It's Ben Braddock, dude. That's why we can't go back. That's why I'm 100% convinced of this. And people argue that we can't go past the radiation belts and that blah blah blah.
Well, people remind me of what Ben said. I know the crux of it, but like this is just a few.
Ben's the classic. He and I honestly agree that I have a arbitrage. I have a window. I have a spread of my moon. Peak is we didn't go, and low is we went. And this is Ben Braddock's thing. As low as we went, we saw some super freaky, fucked up shit
for sure.
And that we're scared and we can't go back, basically. And that tracks with the way the astronauts acted after they came back, their press conference. There is like a leak, like Neil Armstrong being like, because they flew around the dark side of the moon to phase lock. And no, so like the moon is phase locked with us, so we only see one face of it always.
Sure.
It spins at the same rate we do, so there's always a dark side of the moon, and we never see it. And the first time we did see it was flying around it with rockets, right? And we so the theory goes is that that's a perfect place for alien base to be, because because we never see it. It's a perfect hiding spot. And also the moon is probably hollow. Shout out Bob's Red Pill moon version.
Shout out
and it's so there's just too many unanswered. There's a weird there's a lot of weird stuff with the moon, and I think that's why we can't do it.
Just real fast, you reminded me something, guys. There's new fiction over on the Substack, rarecandy.substack.com. Sins of the Father by Chris Horrell. He's I think, I don't know if it's Horrell or Horrell. I didn't hear pronounced. Sorry if I'm getting that wrong, but he had a really interesting pitch, because I went on Brad Kelly's podcast, Method of Madness, and I said, look, I want to do audio renditions of short stories. I'd prefer if they were written by people who submitted them to us, rather than going into the public domain or taking stuff that's already published, which I also don't have an aversion to. But I got an email after, and I didn't think anybody was going to submit anything, who has just short stories laying around. Turns out a lot of guys do. And he submitted it to me, and I hope I'm not giving away anything too personal or anything, but I thought his pitch was phenomenal to me, and it got me to read it right away. He just said, hey man, heard you on the Method of Madness podcast. I heard you say that you want to do audio productions of short story. He goes, look, I'm a nobody, but this story is damn good. And I was like, and it was. So that's on our Substack right now. Check that out. It's great. And then also, if you're listening to us, one thing you can do to help us, if you can't give us money, that's totally fine. But just do rate and review wherever you listen. If it's Apple, rate and review, write a review too. It really, really helps. And then on Spotify, there's a rating system on there too. So really appreciate that. But back to the moon situation. What if it's this, right? And I could be completely wrong here. This could be my fiction brain trying to create a story out of something, but that's why this is fun. That's why the moon stuff is fun, because you can project whatever you want onto it, because the party line story isn't correct. So you can be incorrect, as incorrect as the party line story, or more correct. And what if we don't go back because there's a cosmic war? happening right now.
Yeah. Well, that's
What if like a real cosmic war? I'm talking like battle, like real battle where they're like, bro, you want to go through that?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, let's send Katy Perry to like the tip of space. And if she gets fucking got, then whatever.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. That's. I think there might be some. I don't know. It's interesting. There might be some nefarious forces. Yeah. People get really. Yeah, I don't know, and it's tied into remote viewing too, because the goat of remote viewing, Ingo Swann, we're gonna do his book, in for PsyOps probably next. Gotta get Matt Fresta back on. It doesn't feel. I mean, that was a great episode, but it doesn't feel right having him not on a PsyOps episode. You know,
I mean, any book really. I mean, the guy is involved with so many books that we
he is. But the whole they got the most talented remote viewer and the guy who coined the term and everything, and was doing all the Stanford experiments and everything. Total bro, like an artist, like a painter artist, and he just smokes cigars. He's an alpha ass dude, he's like Ingo Swann. So he says he remote viewed the moon and saw like bases on the dark side, and they were nefarious, and they also knew that he was remote viewing them, which is interesting. And he also claims he witnessed on Earth a remote controlled UFO bring what in a very isolated lake region in the mountains. He had federal agents show him, take this for what it is, like basically take water from Earth, from that remote lake, supposedly back up to the moon, straight into space, basically, because there's no water. There's not like enough water on the moon, I guess, and so I don't know, but yeah, it's very interesting. It could be Battlefield Moon for sure.
It could be, dude. It could.
We should write that. We should write that.
I think that's a great novel concept. Is like a real hard sci-fi, like just like kind of a like go to the moon and like, or like the concept would be like, no, we're short on astronauts. Like they created an artificial astronaut shortage, not because there's not enough astronauts, but because no astronaut actually wants to go because the astronauts know. However, the twist is that the whoever powers that be, NASA, whoever you want to make the villain in this story, they know what's going on and they want to see it. And then you realize, let's go fight halfway through. Let's go win the fucking war in space. That would be sick. Like that would be a sick novel. So also I didn't get a chance to check this out, but AJ, it's so funny that AJ Gentile, that's his name. It's so funny. The guy from he's just like not an AJ, not Jewish. That's basically his name. And he was on
isn't that's the name of the guy in the Nick in the first episode where he's like fucking Gentile. I think so. That's funny.
I thought, well, because that could mean just not Jewish, but anyways, it could be. There are people with that last name, but the AJ Gentile, he was on Joe Rogan, and I didn't check it out, but there was a community notes on YouTube somewhat that said reptilian, and AJ Gentile hosts a podcast or YouTube channel called the Y Files, where it's him and his hecklefish, and they discuss where he launders his base takes into a puppet fish, and then he kind of is the straight kind of, here's what I think happened kind of thing, and then and so they have AJ went on by himself on Rogan and apparently talked about cryptids, humanoids, all the lizard stuff that you've been hearing about for many, many years, that was considered like Alex Jones coded, that it means you deny Sandy Hook, I guess. And then but you look at the community notes and it says from Wikipedia. So Wikipedia is a trusted source now, apparently, to debunk things. From Wikipedia, reptilian humanoids or anthropomorphic reptiles, also called reptiloids, also called leftoids,
who calls
rightoids, and rightoids. But
these crypto-fascist reptoids
these fucking right-wing reptoids appear in folklore, fiction, and conspiracy theories.
Okay, so
they're not real whatsoever.
Look, I don't like it or approve of it, but I get why they do the COVID alerts, like COVID denialism, blah blah blah, on Rogan episodes. I get that.
Yeah.
Why are they doing reptilian?
That's the thing.
Alerts. If that to me means that there are reptilians.
Well, no, I have an actual answer to why they're doing that.
Why?
So because it leads you into the COVID denialism. Those are the
So it's like
same people.
the gateway.
So they're not saying, like, they don't really care if all you believed was in aliens or reptilians. However, a lot of people that get into lizard people stuff, because it's Alex Jones coded, will get into vaccine denialism, anti-imperialism in some sorts. A lot of things that these big money companies that are putting money into YouTube and all of these other things, trying to censor the internet, they really don't want you going down that path. Yeah. So, and easily, I mean, people that believe in that stuff, it's not usually just that a lot of times. So it's usually going after a type of guy, not a certain idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. That's
my opinion. I just, I would think I would want to do that. It's the same way of like, bro fiction, right? Like when people go like, yeah, if you're reading David Foster Wallace and all of this stuff, like, it's not because you're reading that book. It's because it's going to make you this type of guy that they don't like anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. David Foster Wallace.
David Foster Wallace. Yeah. But yeah, that was Australia. Yeah. And and so that's but to me, I'm always just like, man, you know, first off, it's Rogan. So like, this is like mainstream Rogan now. Like, Rogan used to talk about this shit all the time. I know. Like, this is not like a new bomb on Rogan. Like, this is a guy that believes in reptilians and stuff. And didn't AJ from the Y-Files do some kind of lizard people, like reptile thing? Like, didn't he do his own video on that? That I think
I'm sure. Yeah,
I think Scott was telling me about it.
And I listened to the whole thing, or 95% of it, and it was good. And it's interesting hearing him in like that setting, in that kind of relaxed setting without Hucklefish. And it's and he's cool. You could tell he's a Rogan bro because he knows all the ivermectin lore, the gunshot wounds and all that shit. And he it was great hearing. I mean, well, I like Y-Files because he is kind of a skeptic, you know?
Right.
And so the things that he's really into crop circles. So the things that he really believes are crop circles and pyramids and things like, so it's like
cattle mutilation too, right?
Cattle mutilation. Yeah. And so, which I guess is kind of like crop circles, kind of similar, you know?
Similar vein,
and so so anyway, I respect him. You know, obviously I probably am a little bit less skeptical than him on some things, but I'm more of a hecklefish, but
but the channel doesn't work if you're all in, I think, a lot of times. And like, that's what a lot of people don't realize. In conspiracy theory circles, and it's tough to talk about this without sounding like I'm trying to censor anybody, but a lot of times you'll talk to conspiracy theorists and you simply asking them why, or asking them a question that their opposition might ask, they start to think you're part of a censorship campaign, when really it's like, man, the best way to go about it is to be skeptical of yourself and then prove yourself wrong a lot of times. Like, that is actually the way to go about it, to where, you know, like, there's just a lot of people that are like, oh, of course, that's just typical fucking, you know, imperialist. Like, and it's like, me and you, we're talking right now. It's just me and you talking. I'm very sympathetic to what you believe. The problem is if I take what you told, a lot of these people don't really explain themselves. It's as though there was a prerequisite that I didn't get, or something, some source material or reading that I haven't done to then they go, well, you need to read this. And it's like, can you tell, if you did, just tell me. Just tell me. Just
you like, should be able to explain it.
The crux of it. Like, just tell me what happened. And I think AJ does a pretty good job of just kind of like, okay, look, this is what's out there. This is what this person said. This is what this person said. It's journal. It's actually what journalism is, kind of, in a way. Sadly, like that's the best journalism you get right now, is like neutral journalism. It's stuff like that. You go, this is what's said. This is what's said. Okay, this is what I kind of believe, you know, and it might be in a mixture, or in which is how the brain works. Is like, I don't really think that works. That's a huge projection. Like, you kind of have to leap to get to a certain thing, even if you might believe it to be true. Like, it's kind of tough to go out there and say this is lead pipe lock evidence. I think he's a very normie, you know, he comes at it from like a very normie person, to where it's not just this like shadowy guy with like, who's disappearing in his own Zoom background and like, just like, actually fucking like that. And then and then you ask him a question. It's like, well, you didn't read Operation Gladio by fucking Jonathan Myers Smith.
Yeah.
You did that, who's also an op, by the way. He's an
Yeah.
op.
But
like,
also, yeah, exactly.
you
Yeah.
just read his book. He's a total fucking op. But
Yeah.
and you're just
No,
like,
you
what
could tell
what
by
do I read? Like,
Yeah.
just
You could tell the guys that are seriously curious and they're open and they want to know more versus the guys that
Right.
do it just as like their own little
Dick swinging.
club and they
Dick
want to
swinging
be
contest.
and they want to be
Mhm.
special and they want to be
Yeah.
exactly.
That's why, like, I went on a
And-
podcast called The Occult Rejects, and I would just go like, "Oh, really?" And they wouldn't go, "Yeah, dude, you don't know
Yeah.
that." Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, no, I didn't." I know, and they'll just go like, "Yeah, here's the thing, boom, boom,
And
boom,
also-
boom, boom." Yeah, they were great. They were like smart, kind of,
Yeah.
people who understood that that what they believe is actually a minority.
Yeah.
And so then to grow people that are enlightened in that sense, like you do have to kind of baby steps with people.
And I was talking to my sister about the moon, and I kind of let slip some stuff, and she is very normy, you know.
For sure.
And although her husband is kind of base, and
Yep.
and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, like normie or whatever, you know. Although, but
10%,
it's
about 10%.
yeah. But I was like, yeah, I think the moon, something's going on with the moon because the numbers don't add up. There's all this math encoded into it, which shouldn't be there. So it's almost like there's an intelligence to it. And, you know, and like there's something going on there. And I don't believe in the official story of the moon. And she was like, well, what is it then? Which is like a common normie thing. And I'm like, I don't know. I just know that from first. So I'm just like, I just know that it doesn't add up. And that we need to be open about it.
And these are people that watch true crime. These are people that watch true crime where you'll see a cop go, look, I don't know who did it, but I know the guy they have in there is innocent.
Exactly.
And you're like, well, how do you know that? They're like, it's the same, literally the same concept.
Yeah, there's an old mathematician joke that is very it's quite wise, where it's so a biologist, a mathematician, or no, like a biologist, a physicist, and a mathematician are vacationing together in Scotland, right? And they're driving, they rent a car and they're driving through the fields.
Thomas Pynchon novel, right?
Exactly. Yeah. They go to Glenn Greenwald's house and and so they're driving through the fields and they pass this field with a sheep in it, and it's a black sheep, and it's and the biologist gets all excited and it's like, wow, the sheep in Scotland, they're black sheep. And then the physicist goes, no, we know one farm which has black sheep. And then they go to the mathematician. The mathematician goes, no, we know of at least one sheep in Scotland of which at least one side is black, the side we can see. You know, and the whole point is just to be very careful with your, you know, and be extremely rigorous to what you actually know and what you can prove and what you can not prove. We know for sure that one side of the sheep is black. And
also,
13%
of the sheep are black.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a mathematician.
Yeah. Mathematician. Yeah.
Lock the doors. I say lock the doors, guys. Lock the car doors. We're passing the thing.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole thing. So anyway, it's like, you know, we just we know that the official story is bullshit on this. And yeah. And that's what I say in my red pill is the whole the believe, you know, the old school, like the original NASA scientists before moon landing in the 50s and shit, they like, what I forget, was it Isaac Asimov or one of the NASA scientists that said it's easier to believe in the non-existence of the moon than the existence of the moon. It's just that bizarre, you know, and it's just that, yeah. And that was based. They used to be fucking based, and they're not anymore. And now now it's about like climate marches and shit.
Now they're like, what are you doing in here? You needed 6 boosters to even talk to me right now in this NASA chamber.
Yeah,
next to the Stanford Misinformation Observatory.
Yeah.
Where we're censoring people speaking out against Drag Queen Story Hour.
Yeah.
How dare? First off, we went to the fucking moon. Shut up.
Yeah.
You know, like that. And again, like it's just funny the way, like, because I end up. All of it ends up the Reddit, like the science is settled, yet science is never settled. I hate that that mentality, but I also hate the ever expanding conspiratorial person who acts like they've settled. There's a horseshoe theory a little bit of like, well, my science is settled because I believe this, and if you don't believe this, you're a Reddit retard.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, okay, like, sure, it's fine for you to conduct yourself that way, but it's not really constructive if we actually want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
That's just kind of where I'm at with that.
Absolutely.
Have you been getting a lot of? I know I don't pay for YouTube, so I get a lot of YouTube advertisements. There are some interesting. Have you ever used Grammarly before?
No.
I tried it for a second, and because I was experimenting with writing, and I thought it was gonna like kind of, just like see what it was terrible. By the way, it is a fucking terrible thing. It just butchers everything you do. It's just like everything's blue highlighted. They're like, did you mean it? It's like it's way too invasive. And the idea, and I finally saw an ad for Grammarly. It was before some fucking stupid YouTube video I was watching where the guy. So there's like a Chat GPT Grammarly one where there's a Chinese guy, which is hysterical, by the way. He goes, I use a Chat GPT. It's my favorite thing. And like, he's just like, I'm a Grammarly. It's the best. And there's that. And then there's this like guy who's just like this Zoomer white guy who just like posts all the time and pretends he doesn't have time for anything. This is my favorite archetype for people who use like retard apps or like, well, I don't have. See, that's the thing, dude. I'm doing a bunch of stuff. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm this and that, and I don't have time. I don't have time to fucking spell words right. I don't have time for commas, punctuation marks. But I gotta sound professional. But I don't have fucking time. And it's just a guy on his phone all day, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
And he doesn't have time for anything. I don't have time. People.
I
can't stand it. But then it's like, and he's like, I'm just basically at the end of the day, what he's saying is, I'm a fucking retard, dude. I'm retarded as fuck. I haven't read a book in 10 years. I literally but then one guy told me that my email that I sent was unprofessional, so now I have to download this app. And for me, I turn autocorrect off on my phone, and anybody who texts me knows that autocorrect is off on my phone. It's okay. I don't capitalize everything, and I'm like, dude, it's just me and you talking.
I know.
Like, why do you need a constant teacher in the room with you correcting your sentences? And it's also like, to be honest, like I think it's pretty bad. Like if it's on like your work computer or whatever and you're just getting through the day, I don't think that's that big of a deal. But if it's like a personal message where you're like riffing with a friend and somebody's correcting your speech, I don't like that.
Grammarly is super midwit. My thing, honestly, if you really need something locked up, I would running it through Chat GPT is fine. And because it'll be like, tell me what changes you would make to this. And then you could see if you're like, nah, that one's gay. Okay, that one for sure I need to do. And that's the easy way to do it. Yeah, and autocorrect off on the phone autocorrect makes more mistakes than it fixes. Especially when that Orwellian ass, you type something and then you hit send and it corrects as it's sending it. And you're like, no, fuck, and it's like you don't even have an option of... it literally
like hard R. What? That's not what I fucking meant to say. I said never.
That'd be funny if it just corrects hard R's, dude. It's like,
I mean, if you've searched it enough on the internet, maybe, right? Like, I don't know.
Actually, like Cascade. Well, I was wondering because I was bitching about it not doing swear words and shit, and Cascadian Realism. Shout out Canada. He hit me up because he's like, oh yeah, I can actually go under the hood in Apple settings and like turn that off, and I did it. It works great. I don't do hard R's, but I
feel like that takes more time than just like sit back and look at what you're typing. And I get it. If you're sending in like a resume, or if it's some like utility thing where it's just it has no benefit to you other than like a utility in your life, like where it's like, okay, I need this to happen. I'm sending a letter to an insurance company, doing these dumb things. Like whatever you want to do, that's fine. Whatever. But especially if the thing you're sending it to is probably being read by an AI. That's kind of the problem. Is like, okay, I get that you're fighting AI with AI, I guess. But if it's just like me texting you and it's just constantly autocorrect, and then you're correcting your own autocorrect all the time, it's annoying. Like, who cares if you fucking spell receipt wrong? Like it does, which I do. It's still a tough one. Or
PT.
What was the one? I couldn't spell entourage. We're going to be covering entourage. Do a collaboration with Low Res covering entourage. I fucking forgot how to spell it. It's tour. I always think it's entourage.
No,
like entourage, but it's
entourage.
Tourage. Yeah, it's like
entourage.
But guess what? If I spell it wrong, who gives a fuck? Like it's so dumb to me. Like that people need to use this like. And again, the I don't have time guy bothers the hell.
It's that Jim Gaffigan joke with the whole like, I'm emailing someone. It's like, I will see you on Wednesday. I'll see you next week. And he changed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Next
exactly.
week, let's chat, right?
Yeah.
Or wed, just
Yeah.
wed with the fucking thing. It's fine. Like
Yeah.
shorthand is fine. Like my
Yeah.
dude, my mom used to text me like the weirdest thing. Like if I'd be at her house or something, she'd be at work. Like I'd go by her house. She goes, "Hey, do you mind MT the dishwasher?" MT
Yeah.
the dishwasher. I was like, "What are you doing?" I even told her, I was like,
MTF.
yeah. Maybe that's what you're
MTF the dishwasher.
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Like, yeah. Oh man, yeah, that's hilarious. But have you ever seen the Savannah Bananas before?
Yeah, dude, I've seen the fucking. I watched that YouTube got recommended to me with the interview by the owner who wears like a banana yellow suit and is like a Willy Wonka ass motherfucker. And I watched like half of that 10-minute video. I'm like, this is gay. I'm out.
I watched an entire game on ESPN. This was like 2 weeks ago, and I was working on something for the show. I was like putting something together, and I put on just ESPN in the background. And all of a sudden, I looked up. I'm like, "Is the umpire twerking in a baseball game?" And he was twerking. He was twerking. It was like wet ass pussy instrumental was playing, and he was like twerking. And I was like, "What's happening?" Because I knew what this. It wasn't like I'd never heard of it. I thought it was. Because what the concept of the Savannah Bananas is, and I believe it's Savannah, Georgia, and it's
like Harlem Globetrotters.
Harlem Globetrotters, but Harlem, and I imagine even the Harlem Globetrotters, if they're still around, they probably incorporate TikTok stuff now. You almost have to for any like young kid to think this is interesting. My dad used to take me to Harlem Globetrotters games here and there. They play at the RIP, the Oracle Arena. Was that the Globetrotter song?
I think so.
The
whistle. It's the guy whistling, right?
I don't remember at all. But it was always like, it's fun, it's fine, whatever. Something you take a kid to. But this Savannah Bananas thing, I was watching it because it was like they're obviously ex-college and like minor league players that never got to the majors or whatever. But it's funny because you'll watch it and you're like, damn, that sucks because this guy's probably not making a lot of money, even though they're selling out these stadiums. I mean, they are selling out Nissan Stadium, which is where the Tennessee Titans play, and they reconfigure the baseball field in a weird football field fashion. There's nets up, certain things count for certain stuff, but they all in between. So, like, if you're the DJ for the Savannah Bananas, you probably have this really complex set list because as the pitcher's in between, the pitcher's like struggling and he's like, fuck, it's 2-2 count. What am I going to throw? And then fucking like Jelly Roll starts playing and he has to fucking like, and then he's like, starts TikTok dancing and shit. He's like, man, this is a huge pitch. I got to throw this. And he starts dancing. The umpire's dancing. And then like and then you'll see like a guy hit a home run. You're like, actually, that was pretty impressive because he was like twerking before that.
I know.
He hit a home run. You're like, that's crazy. It was off like probably like an 81 mile an hour fastball. Like, probably not like underhand. It wasn't like, home run derby level. And he hits one, and you're just like, but the stands are full. And then all of a sudden they'll be like, Kenny Chesney's here, and Kenny Chesney's singing, and you're like, this is a whole industry that if you live on the West Coast, you have no idea exists. And then it's on ESPN. They're selling out more than like I would guess like 4 or 5 different major league teams right now.
Which
is nuts.
I love that players aren't making any money because the owner just has like a wardrobe full of those yellow suits, dude, that cost like 30 grand each.
I don't know. Let's see how much.
The one thing I gotta say, the one cool ass I did hear, they have some alternate rules like XFL.
It's a completely different game.
Yeah. The one sick thing, if you foul into the stands and a player catches the ball, that's an out. I'm like, that's hard, dude. That's tight as fuck. I like that.
Yeah. The average employee makes $84,000 a year. So this is just all suggested. It's not public, but the average employee of the Savannah Bananas, which I would guess, that could be DJs, all this music stuff you have to go in, makes $84,000. So I would assume that a player makes anywhere from 60 to 95. That's not that bad. That's not that bad at all.
Better than working something.
I mean, it's better than minor league baseball.
Yeah,
literally, you may get a raise to
San Jose. Do San Jose Giants still?
You used to go all the time. You have to like live with a fucking person. Like when you literally, because I mean, you're living in San Jose, California. You're not going to get rent for that. Like you make like probably 10.
They probably make less than I do, which is sad.
They make like 22,000 a year. It's nuts. Like minor league baseball players, but these guys just go in there. But the problem is like, what if you're like a cool ass minor league player and there's just like you have to audition. You probably have to like dance a lot, and you're probably just like, damn, dude, this guy sucks at dancing.
We need the reality show.
You're not banana material, dude. You're not banana material. Get the fuck out of here. That'd be a great sketch.
It would
like,
be,
what the fuck is that, dude? Like
they should have a ringer, a guy that can't dance, but like a high AAA ball guy that could just crush 500.
That's what I was saying. Dude. And you know, like a brutish guy, a brutish guy. Like you need to have the anti-banana, like the guy who
like a Giambi guy.
They do have their own Washington Generals, and what I did like is they won. The other team won. Like the fucking, because Harlem Globetrotters never lost to the Washington Generals. Yeah, but exactly. These guys, the Savannah Bananas lost to these guys, and but the problem was the opposite team. They were just like twerking fags too, and I was just like, they were like, their shirts were all open, and I mean, I feel like half our gay fans that maybe were snickering at the Glen Greenwald thing are like, well, I'm going to become a Bananas fan, and it's obviously the phallic implication of bananas. Yeah, you know, it's very interesting.
Don't they play like Clemson now? Isn't that a whole?
That just happened, I think.
Okay,
but the thing is every pro athlete does TikTok dances now.
Yeah.
So what the reason that happens is because you'll see like their girlfriends are like influencers, right? Because they're like hot chicks, and so they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, you just got drafted by so and so. You have to come on my next TikTok and dance with me." And they're kind of I can never tell if they actually want to do it or if like Zoomer men just think that that's like alpha. Because man, the dances are like, dude, that's bad. Like, don't do that. It's just not a good look. These guys literally will hit home runs and start like twerking on all fours. And it's like, but it's also like there's this like based country element of it too. Happening at the same time, like where it's a kind of like chuddy, like NASCAR. Like it's meant for the South. Like it's not meant for, I mean, I'm sure it'll expand to like, because God forbid if it goes to Seattle and California and you have the Savannah women with bananas, if you know what I'm saying. And MTF, like fucking like Jason Giambi MTF guys like going out there and just raking.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I do love minor league ball and like just all of that whole. I mean, San Jose Giants was so fun always, and you used to just get like a stack of tickets at Orchard Supply Hardware just at the cashier.
At the hardware store, you could like grab a handful. They wouldn't care.
You buy some semi-gloss paint and just grab a fucking handful of those.
Well, the thing that would make it worth it for the proprietor, I should say, like the people who were at the stadium, is like, look, we'll let the fans in for free. They had an awesome barbecue place that was there in San Jose, and then they had a beer batter. So what would happen was, it was really funny. So like, say you're a single A guy and you're just like young, you're a 19, 20-year-old kid coming up, or 2021 or whatever, and you're going up and you realize like everyone hates you in the stadium. And it's just kind of funny because you have what's his name, like a guy come up and it's called the beer batter. So if that guy strikes out, beers are like half off. So you're like this 21-year-old kid where if you go to a minor league game, like, you're probably rooting for the home team, but you don't really care. You don't know any of these guys' names, but everyone's all of a sudden, they're like, now batting Austin Riley or whatever generic baseball player name comes up, and everyone's like, boo, fuck you fucking suck. Like, and then you kind of do in a way. And then you strike out and everyone's just cheering, like elated. They used to do car demolitions. They would bring a car out. Destroy a car. It was pure Americana.
Oh, we did. Oh, yeah. We would do baseball bingo every time. I got to go. I did the cornhole thing. I got to do the cornhole thing on the field in front of everyone as like an 11-year-old, which was super scary to me. You know, where they always have the games in between innings where they call up random people, and then you try and win a prize or whatever. And I airballed it, dude. I was like so embarrassed, dude. Airballed it. Yeah.
That's right.
And and literally we used to go to so many of those games, and the one time, literally, like, it's like a 0.01% chance that you get to go on the field and do those games. And they're fun, man.
Yep.
And the food, dude, the frozen lemonades and the food went hard in the paint.
Because it was a million fucking degrees in the stadium. There's no shade. So it was all just like, it was,
I love it. Like the tickets, like the seats are free or cheap, but then they also have bleachers. So it's like, how much of a scrub do you have to be to sit in the bleachers at the single A game?
It's all just because you didn't get there on time, dude. They want you there early, and it's just and it's like, and then you look and you're like, you paid for this fucking ticket, dude. Yeah, I went and got a new fucking. I went and got a fitting for my copper fitting for a hose at Orchard Supply Hardware.
Exactly.
And got 6 tickets for my Mormon family.
Yeah. R.I.P. By the way, dude. Oh shit, fuck, dude.
It turned into something else. It's literally the same store though.
Osh was so.
It's called Outdoors something now, and it literally has the exact same aesthetic. They got rid of some of the locations, but they repopped. It's the same store.
I like that stuff. And we clown on boomers and stuff, but I was thinking the other day driving around, I'm like, there's a lot about the boomers that I love that I miss that we're gonna lose, and one of them is like the old guy working at Osh.
Yeah, knows everything.
That helps you. That actually fucking dude. If you go to Lowe's, dude. We went to Lowe's. Oh my god, the most Zoomer ass store. Yeah. And fucking A, dude.
Fucking Jack Harlow.
And the thing is, dude. And the thing is, everyone goes to Lowe's now because the Home Depot guy is like MAGA, I guess, and that's people are worried about that. And I'm
isn't that the Falcons guy?
It might be. It might be
Arthur Blank. I thought he was Home Depot.
No, that's FedEx. That's FedEx.
No, that's Arthur Smith.
Oh, okay, maybe
Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons. Yeah, that's funny.
But the Falcons just like every mega corporation, like coach and every.
Oh, he retired. Arthur Blank retired as the Home Depot co-chairman. Okay. Yeah. Anyways,
but I will say the Lowe's lumber was actually kind of sick compared to the Home Depot. But did you ask anyone in Lowe's? Mm-hmm. You're like, hey, where do I get like the toilet bowl fitting? You know, like the thing or just something, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, let me see. And then they pull up their phone and they look on the Lowe's app. And they're like, I think it's like 13B. And it's like not even fucking close, dude. And it's like, literally, we asked like 4 people. Yeah. Dude, it's horrible.
Dude, I went to IKEA. When I went to IKEA to buy something, I had a confused antisocial Zoomer. We were asking, and we're like, hey, this table says it's here, but it's not. And it does say you guys have it in store. So like, do you have it? And she just looked at her iPad for a few seconds, looked at us, I just started gingerly walking away.
Yes,
I was like, there was not even a lie. Not even a lie. Like, oh, I'll go ask for you. Like, not even a lie, because I've worked retail. I understand.
Yeah.
Like
for sure. You gotta play the game. Yeah.
She just walked away. I was like, in what world is that acceptable? And I know, because my when my wife's
I gotta tell my wife about this because we clown about that all the fucking time.
My wife's
they will walk away. Dude.
Yeah, my wife's grandmother passed away recently at 100. It was very old. Like she was very much an introvert, right? So she would always be this person introvert. I will say what's interesting about introverts now versus introverts back then, you still were expected to host a party, right? Like she was expected because my grandfather was very like the guy, right? He's on the grill. What's up, man? Having the bros over from the company, functions every weekend type guy, like total Mad Men parties. She still was, she couldn't be like, well, I don't do well with crowds. I'm just going to sit in the room and play fucking Game Boy the whole time or something. Like she couldn't do that. Like that just wasn't acceptable at all. Yeah. Like, so she always knew that, like, and everybody said that at her funeral. They're like, oh, and she really just didn't like crowds. But you know what? Every time for her husband, she went out there and she hosted, she played the game, she went and sat and chat. And I was like, wow, that's crazy now, because now you can just say you're an introvert and get out of any social interaction. And okay, sure, whatever.
And everyone's an introvert now. Everyone's an
introvert.
And I really am. So I
Me
know.
Too. I don't do like large get-togethers a lot and stuff. I'm very much a one-on-one person. But guess what? If everyone's that way, there's this kind of like alpha mentality you have to have. It's like, I'll start the conversation, I guess. You know, like, and you kind of, and it's really, really annoying. And this comes into, like I said, places where you're a paying customer and it's already a fucking Terry Gilliam Brazil nightmare trying to get a stupid fucking table from IKEA, like just the dumbest shit, let alone when we assemble it. That's going to be its own journey.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm sure it's going to come with every piece, right? Like, so because this woman just walked away. Nothing happened. We sat there like it was like an episode of Severance, like a Severance hallway. We just sat there where nothing happened. And we're just like, sick. And then I was like, this woman just walked away. And guess what? Guess what would happen if my wife, I guess it wouldn't really work with me, but if my wife said something, Karen.
Yeah, exactly. Karen. Yeah.
That's what
that's the thing. Yeah. Karen is just expecting basic, because there was the Karen moment at the beginning when the term's been weakened. You know, There is an original. Now it just means anyone who asks a question for customer service.
Mm-hmm.
But it's when you meet a Zoomer who is the opposite of that, it's really stark.
Really,
and
nice.
I've been wanting to talk. I had this in the notes for. I've been wanting to talk about this guy for a while. Oh, maybe we could end with this. The natural grocers cashier. You guys don't have those down. Have you ever been to one?
Yes, I have. They have them in Nevada. They don't have them out here. Yeah.
So it's a great store. I love it. And this fucking guy, so there's this guy at our local natural grocers cashier, total fucking sports bro, the biggest sports bro. Yeah. And this guy looks like a barstool. First of all, he's pretty big. He's like 6'3" at least, has like a mustache, kind of bigger, like kind of gruff dude. He looks like he's like 40 years old. And he's like, well, dude, the fucking he's a Packers fan and also kind of a Patriots fan, I guess. Yeah. And just always talks about football to anyone, like any bro that's in there. That's all. And you could tell all the rest of his coworkers fucking hate him because they're natural grocers employees and they don't watch any sports. And it's so funny. So him and we have like a rapport now, and he remembers me now. And it was so sweet, dude. He like literally. And sometimes I'll go alone. Sometimes I'll go with my wife. And the last time my wife and I went together, I walk in and he sees me walk in and his face just lights up, dude. Yeah. He's just like, dude. And I'm like, let's fucking go, dude. And
that's awesome.
So we were so stoked. And yeah, dude, he's always talking about the Packers. He's not concerned about any NFC North competition whatsoever. He's like, Vikings, those guys are fucking gay, dude. And but then we learned, first I thought this guy was like 38 years old, dude. He's 22. Dude.
Wow.
He's the anti-Zoomer, dude. He's
That's
the
crazy.
anti-Zoomer.
Yeah.
Like, don't you wish you had that at Sprouts? Like a NFL draft guy at Sprouts? Wouldn't that be fun?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. I have one final thing. The one final grind my gear boomer thing that happened to me. There's just a lot of like family meetup stuff that's happening right now of people that we haven't seen in a long time that we don't want to see. It's just stupid. Like, I don't like this person. So you know what I hate is when people pretend not to remember things. I fucking hate that more than anything. Like when people like it's this like part of it is like that's another part of this whole affliction thing where people don't ever try to improve maybe an aspect of their life that like is easily improvable, or at least like to a certain degree, where like people that just say I'm bad with names. All right, let's go. I'm bad with names. Well, why don't you fucking work on that? That would be a great idea if you remembered somebody's name. Like that would be an awesome thing. If you and a lot of times bad with names means you didn't pay attention when someone said their name. Yeah, it's not bad with names. It's not that they told you your name, you repeated it, which is the term. You go, my name's Kyle Hitler, of course, but my name's Kyle, and you go, hey Kyle, what's up? That's how you do it every fucking time. It's not that hard, right? Now, if you forget after that, then you might need to hit the Rishi, the lion's mane. Like it's an easy way to diagnose. But there's so many people that resign themselves. To just being bad at names, being bad at social interaction, being bad at these things. And this is different than drinks with friends. I understand people could point back, well, you guys said social interaction. No. I just mean these certain things where it's like, it's fucking rude to not remember somebody like that. You clearly remember. And the reason I'm bringing this up was there's this guy, he's kind of a family member, kind of not. He is pretending he's never met me. On the phone. These people are flying out to come see us, and they'll be like, and I'll give him a fake name, and Don. And Don is really excited to meet Glenn. And he goes, and Don's a big sports guy. I know Glenn's a big sport. They're trying to broker this friendship. And in my head, my wife got mad because I'm looking, because this is all being said to my wife on speakerphone. And I go, I met Don. He's a fucking faggot like that. Like I was like saying, like, I don't like him. We had a long conversation where he was condescending to another family member who had this kind of like buy and sell flipper furniture business that I think is really noble and nice, and he works really hard at it. But this dude's like, you just find stuff on the street and sell it. And I'm just like, not everyone was born on third base and thought they hit a triple like you. But he's pretending he doesn't remember me. It's really funny to me because like I know a lot of like a lot of people will go on, like, you'll see it on like the internet where so and so happened to be like, I've never heard of that. Yes, you have. You're on Twitter all fucking day. You've heard of that. Or like, and people just resign themselves to being bad at something a lot of times. A thing that like was unacceptable to be bad at. Like if you, at these social interactions in the past, if it was 3 or 4 times and you forget someone's name, at some point someone's going to go like, you know my name, like what the fuck, dude? Or even like they pretend that they're meeting you for the first time or something. It's like this power move that people do, this condescending power move.
You're not important enough for me to remember.
Yeah, exactly. I meet so many people.
Well, I met this
like,
I met this author, and he's kind of like one of the early one of the like early vegan guys at some conference a while back, and he really sweet dude. I knew he was like a cool guy or whatever, and he I think I might have mentioned this story before, but he's obviously like famous in his local scene, and he's an older guy, and he meets tons of people because he does his stuff, goes to these conferences, everything. And someone introduced me after his talk and everything, and there's like hundreds of people here, and he meets me, and then we go to this dinner later where he was there, and completely different. And he meets me, he repeats my name back to me, and then later on he's like, "Oh, hey, Robert, right?" Blah, blah, blah.
Perfect.
And it's like, and I'm like, dude, I still remember that. Because I was like, here's a guy that has no reason to remember me, and he does. And I'm like, and he's such a sweetheart. And I'm like, dude, this guy, it was like amazing, And
that's such an easy thing to get good at too. Like I have a very good memory, so like I remember what I mean is like there's levels. It's all in scale. Like you might not be perfect at it. If you met a guy 5 years ago, maybe you don't remember his name. Like I get that, but it's like it'll be like a week apart. And like you guys spent a decent amount of time together, and it's not like you have to be friends, but it's fucking rude to do that. And it's like, oh, I have a bad memory. I have all this stuff. Why is that? Like, first off, no, like that's not like, and it's like it's just not acceptable. It's just I like, why do we accept this like this bad, or they go this, I'm bad with names, way better with faces. Okay, well, you thought you first off, you thought you hadn't met me before, so obviously my face doesn't.
I know, exactly. Yeah.
And second off, being good with faces has almost zero utility.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
Or are you gonna draw? Are you gonna do crime sketches? That's what you're gonna fucking do? No, it doesn't.
I don't remember his name, but I knew he did the crime, and
I'm really good with faces. You're a fucking idiot. Yeah, like I'm so sick of that shit, dude. Like it's been a pet peeve of mine for years, but now it's become like the norm to not remember people's names, or to just do this thing. Like my life is so busy, I don't have time. It's very much I don't have time. It's in that same kind of like archetype of guy who the 23-year-old doesn't have time or kind of person. Like uses Grammarly, doesn't remember names. Like it's very very much that thing. And I'm like, it's first off, it's fake because they do latch on to a lot of stuff, and everyone does have, and maybe it's because we can look everything up on our phones now. Maybe we don't retain information the way we used to, but it's always been this fake ass shit that I've always hated with these things.
I know it's not. I don't know. I like the people that just admit it. They're like, I don't remember. I'm a fucking asshole, dude. Sorry. They don't try and make it. They don't try and soften it. You know what I mean?
You get one of those, by the way, though.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, do it. Like, just remember it. Like, that's like what I mean is if you're at like a board meeting, right? At like your company, and you don't remember the person's name that you're trying to impress, like, because that, if you're truly bad with names, that's when it should pop up, right? Like, it's like during like crucial moments. It never does, though.
Yeah.
So it's just like this whole, like, I don't know. There's so much. Everyone just loves to tell you, you meet up with these people and all they do is they tell you about the things they don't do because they don't have time.
I know. Yeah.
That's what everyone does. Like, I don't watch TV. I don't have time. And then you just realize you just sit on your fucking phone all day. I know that's all you do. Yeah. Like, I know your whole life is idle time.
Yeah.
But you don't ever commit yourself to one activity.
I don't believe it from anyone anymore. Yeah.
Exactly.
I see you put the Palantir advisory board, Deborah Burks. Dude.
Yeah, that's interesting because I don't know anything about Palantir. I know it's like a big thing, but I don't love that. Deborah L. Burks just straight up lied to Trump during COVID too. Yeah. Like that's her biggest thing. And so now I'm like, I don't love her joining.
Dude.
I don't have a lot to say about it, but I just saw that name and I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all, actually.
I don't know why. Yeah, like who are these people? Why do they keep?
Yeah, why they just circulate? Oh, they're just.
Well, how are you?
The Whitney Webb types. The Whitney Webb types are correct about a lot of that. There's just people that just circulate from either side, go where the wind blows, but they always have a job because of what they do, their function.
Yeah.
To lie,
function, dude.
So, yeah, guys, for sure. This weekend I might release an old Vault classic called from the My Ghetto report card episode I did on the Salt Box, which I believe has been taken off of Spotify, so we'll add it to our feed. It's an older episode, so if you're interested in a lot of lore, there's a lot of lore to that because it was a deeply personal album for sure. And then there's we'll probably just release that for free on our feed. But yeah, coming up on Gain of Fiction. Right now, the Libra episode's just out. Again, that's a great talk with Brad Kelly. Go check that out, and his podcast, Method and Madness. I believe he's going to do a follow-up, kind of a madness portion. He does a method, which is like the craft of writing, and then the madness, which is like the schizo stuff. Really, really cool concept that he's doing over there. So I think he's going to do a thing with Libra there. And then let's see, coming up, we're going to be covering some. I'm not going to say it because I don't want someone to beat us to it. But we're going to be covering a really institutional classic of like 11, 12-year-old asshole Glen. That's going to be really fun. And then probably the guys who invented millennial horsing. I'll say that much. And then Gain of Fiction coming up. We have Map in the Territory, which you were on that for a little bit, I think, that episode.
Yeah, I hopped in.
Yeah, you hopped in, talking a little Michelin.
How was the rest of it?
It was great. Excellent talk.
Yeah.
Excellent talk. So then we have that, and then we have Tropic of Cancer, Henry Miller. That'll be great. And then American Psycho, Bret Easton Ellis. Sharp Objects, which I'm gonna be doing that with our buddy Doug. Gillian Flynn Cells getting together. It was her book, I believe, either before Gone Girl, I think, and they made a really good HBO miniseries about it with Amy Adams, which is awesome. So, and then we will cover the Nick. I'll start rewatching that now that I know that you're rewatching that. That's awesome. I fucking love that show. So all right, guys. Well, on that note, everybody have a safe week. We'll catch you guys next time.